everyone watching us on YouTube today. We are very soon a presentation on statements of purposes for graduate school admissions to international universities outside of India. This session is presented by the Red Pen, a leading educational counseling team based out of Dubai predominantly. And you're going to hear very shortly from the head of content of the Master and PhD team about what it takes to craft an effective statement of purpose. Hi, I hope everyone can hear me now. I'm just trying to welcome everybody to this session, which is going to start off shortly, and we're going to talk to you about an effective statement of purpose. Our head of content on the Masters and PhD team at the Red Pen, which is a leading based out of Mumbai, should take us through the steps on creating an effective statement of purpose. Good morning to be logging in from India today. It's very heartening to see the number of attendees that we have today. It's like 1 minute into the session having started, and we already have so many people who are waiting eagerly to attend this session. We're going to wait for another 2 minutes before we get started. If you haven't refilled your cup of coffee or tea yet, go ahead and do that. Sit back, thoroughly enjoy the session. I know Nimisha, I've known her for almost a decade now, so she's definitely going to want you to make notes. So, have a pen or another device on which you'd like to take some key nuggets as takeaways from her session today. But also, while we wait for other people to join in, if anyone would like to share where they're joining us from today, or, what are they currently doing, where are they currently studying? If you'd also even just like to share what your specific questions are, hope to gain from this session, we'd love to see that in the Q&A box of the virtual link. Yep, any questions that you have, or if you just want to share which college are you currently in, or which year are you graduating in, what are you planning to study, which country are you going to study, we'd love to get to know you a little better. Always helps us kind of in conversations as we go ahead. Okay, we have another 1 minute and we can start. Yes, we'd love to know where you're joining from, which college are you from, which city, are you in India? Because I know we have registrations all over the world for this webinar. So I'd love to know where you're from and what are you planning to study? Yes, we will definitely talk about statement of purpose for people with work experience as well. In my experience over the last 12 years of doing educational counseling, I have worked with people with 0 years work experience, so fresh graduates or seniors, also with people with 17 years of work experience. We are not new to the whole work experience space as well. So we'll definitely talk to you a little bit about that. An MBA is something that we talk about in details, and that would be something that if you are very seriously considering, I'd encourage you to get in touch with the separately on. Today, the expert we have with us is focused entirely on Masters and PhD. So we're going to talk to you about whether you are a fresh applicant or a re-applicant, whether you're planning to apply to the UK or the US, with work experience, without working, doesn't matter. This is the right session for you to understand your statement of purpose. Right? Yes, I'm loving to see psychology. We have environmental engineers. We have computer scientists here. We have production design, public policy. This is amazing stuff. I'm enjoying the vibe I'm getting today. And yes, we do have people from all parts of the world. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay, on that note, Welcome everyone. Today on how to craft an effective statement of purpose. As we move the slide, there are some statistics about who the Red Pen is. What the slides are not is that the Red Pen postgraduate team is a small team of core people who work only with masters and PhD applicants, which basically means that if you are in college and you are considering studying from an international university, you don't know where to start. You don't know what kind of questions to ask. You don't know which country you should be even looking at or whether this is the course you want to study. Then the Red Pen team are the people who are going to help you navigate some of those questions, along with, of course, helping you with the resume and the recommendations and helping you fill up your form, but also helping you edit your essays and prepping you and making sure that you are happy with each and every admit that comes into your inbox at the end of that arduous, long, stressing out process, right? Now, today we have with Nimisha. Nimisha has been working for almost a decade with the Red Pen, exclusively focusing on master's and PhD applications. I have worked with Nimisha all that whole day that she has been with us at the Red Pen. And I do want to highlight to you one thing, which I think I will ever be able to give you an essence of. Nimisha spends as much time on building her skill sets as she does on helping each and every applicant she works with create and refine their essays better. I have seen her going for finance programs, I've seen her economic conferences, I've seen her attending psychological conferences. She's been attending writing workshops constantly. She's constantly upskilling herself. And that's truly what makes her stand out in the whole process. And which is why I'm going to now hand you over into the capable hands of Nimisha. Nimisha, thank you to do this for our audience today and taking us through constructing an effective statement of purpose. Over to you.
Thank you, Trupti. I never looked at myself like that, but thanks so much. And good morning, everyone. Thanks you for joining us on this SOP webinar. I am very encouraged that so many of you have turned up on a Saturday morning. And I hope you are all looking forward to all that information that I have put together to share with you. There is a lot that I have to talk about, and the time is short, so I hope I can pack all of it in. But if not, then we are available. We can talk to you later. All right. Along the way, please take notes. We have a question and answer session at the end, and I will take your questions at that point in time. I'm deep diving. What is a statement of purpose? I don't think I need to elaborate too much on that part, what its purpose is and its basic information. But however, I have put together a definition just so that it's clear once and for all, for everybody. I look at the SOP as a tool where you can use, which you can use to present your story, your narrative, and your skills to the admissions committee as a best fit for the university and the program. Now, I have been careful to say university and program separately because they are two separate entities. While your undergrad and while your work experience might help you align with the objectives of the program, remember, you must also align with the vision and the value statement of the university. So that is why the statement of purpose is critical. Once you get that, it's probably easier for you to understand the components of the SOP. Along the way, I hope to break some myths and establish some concepts on the essay writing process. Some of these concepts might be unorthodox. They might probably get you wondering whether can that absolutely happen? Can that actually happen? But let me assure you, we have used all our concepts that I'm going to talk about today and been extremely successful in distinguishing our applicants in the vast applicant pool. Starting off, one of the most critical aspects of the SOP is to understand who the audience is. Very often I find that we consider our audience to be our parents, mentors, faculty, even our seniors at the university we want to apply at, our supervisors. These people have context. They have our backgrounds. They know how we speak. They know what we are thinking, what our passion has been. But actually speaking, the admissions committee has no context. They don't have your background. They are usually a group of 4 or 5 specialists, not necessarily from the subject department, and they will vet your application for best suitability to the program and the university. So remember, you must always present the essay in a way which helps the admissions committee evaluate your suitability in the shortest possible time. So that is, we have to help them make the decision. When we talk about the statement of purpose or the SOP, we always encounter this question, what is the personal statement? How different is it from the SOP? Now, usually this kind of a question comes from people who fear the writing process or who don't have the confidence yet that they can put down a good strategic statement of purpose. The confusion is normally whether they have to adapt to separate approaches, whether there is a different narrative for each, how much content to put together in this one life and this little work that we do. How are we supposed to approach this? So the good part is, for all of you who I have been talking about the university essay, the statement of purpose, and the personal statement, they are all one and the same thing. They are not different. You just have to upload that one document. All right. Now, having said that, let me tell you, when you upload, when you are asked, the UK usually asks for the personal statement, and the US usually asks for the statement of purpose. So when you are asked to upload the personal statement, please do not upload anything personal because there is nothing personal about the statement. It is all technical, academic, skill-oriented. But there's always a but, you know that. But there is also another document called the personal history statement. Now, if there is anyone here who's encountered that and who has to upload one, please reach out to me during the question and answer session, and I'll take it there. Okay. We are here today to construct or deconstruct an SOP, how to break it up. I like the breakup, particularly because it normally helps me conduct the essay brainstorming session more easily. It helps me in a way that where the applicant is able to retain the information I'm giving them. That's why I break it up like this. So I call it the objective component and the subjective component. The objective component is normally the lived experiences of the applicant where they have been evaluated. I have another definition for this one. I am a definitions person. It makes life so much simpler. And I'm not a science student. I'm a management student. So, well, the objective component of the SOP, I look at it as your recent lived experiences, and hold on to the word recent, please. Your recent lived experiences where you have applied your learning concepts, where you've applied your organic understanding, and where you have been evaluated for your mental agility, for your practical application and proficiency, and for the value you have created in the process. So once you understand what the objective component of the essay is, you will find it very easy to navigate through this section. When you cover the objective component, I have found applicants being more confident in approaching the rest of the essay and transitioning to the subjective part, which I think is more challenging. And because they have built that confidence, the subjective aspect becomes a little more easier to navigate. Having said that, who should write what? Okay, so we have questions here already in the question answer session where we are talking about people who have less than 2 years of work experience and people with more than 2 years of work experience. Less than 2 years of work experience, I call them fresh graduates. You are still in school or you haven't worked too long in the industry. People for those who have more than 2 years of work experience, I would say, use all the concepts we are talking today and apply them in your work situation, in your workspace. Show the skills you have developed through your connection with the industry. The concepts will remain the same throughout. Fresh graduates, you will focus on your academics and your internships. Now, how will you present this? When I keep saying present your story in such a way that it makes it easier for the admissions committee to make their decision, how would you present it? Use an anecdotal format, a storytelling format. That kind of an expression will help you present the entire activity in a way which is comprehensive, which covers all aspects, the challenges, how you overcame them, what did you do, and what was the outcome and the value you created, the what, why, when, where, how much of the entire activity. There is a 7-step approach that we use, and I will cover that a little later. So this is how you can break up the objective and the subjective. I am going to dive in deeper as we go along. Yeah. So the objective aspect, the objective component, I like to break it up into academic and professional. Right now, as I speak, I will be speaking about fresh graduates, but like I said earlier, please use the same components in your work environment. Start with your courses and projects. What have you learned? How you have applied that knowledge in the real world? And what have you taken away? Now, when I say speak about your courses, you don't necessarily have to speak about those courses where you have gotten the A+ or you have excelled in. These courses that you pick, I would normally say pick 2 courses. When you pick them, be mindful that you can show impact when you're talking about that course. You can show probably it was that turning point. The course, while studying it, was a turning point in your career journey. Or it was an activity that probably blew your mind, that excited you and helped you to understand what your future should be like. So pick those courses that have made a difference to you. Talk about them in the 7-step approach, which we will come across later, and speak about the knowledge status of where you are in the learning process of that particular course. Doing that will help the admissions officer decide on how enriching your academic journey has been, how good a student you are, and how well you know your space and how you have mapped your career. Remember, it's very important to establish that you are a good student. Please note that down. That is important, and you will keep hearing that along the way. Other than that, internships. Now, fresh graduates, I do encounter quite a few who say, okay, I don't have too much internship experience. We will cover other aspects later on. But those who have significant internship experience, I would say, this is your opportunity to show you are a good industry person. The pick and apply concept is a favorite of ours. This is where we show that you pick a concept from your learning, from your academic theories and methodologies that you've learned in school, and bring it into your workspace. Probably an economics student who wants to study policy will probably show how they have learned how to analyze data, because you learn regression models, you learn all statistical information in your economics course. So if you're working with a think tank as an intern, trying to create policies, you will show how you can apply how to analyze data. A management student might be able to work in a medical clinic at the reception and show that they have good management, organizational, scheduling skills, and help manage the efficiency of the doctor and the patients. So this application from school into the real world is critical, and you will do it with the 7-step approach. Now, in my examples, I spoke about economics into policy, management into another sector. Cross-sectional applicants. This kind of a learning is very popular in this day and age, and is very encouraged that you use your undergrad as a learning ground, as a foundation to teach, to explain to you where your career is, what you are inclined towards. And in the process, then you decide what your future is, your master's. Very often we have applicants switching their courses these days, but when they attempt the essay, what they'll end up doing is, say a chemical engineer going into finance, what he will end up doing is, he will try and map his courses and his internships to show finance. But remember, he's not studied finance. He is a chemical engineer. His courses, his internships in the earlier days are connected with that. Probably along the way, maybe in his final year, he realizes that, okay, I want to set up my paint factory. I am a good manager by myself. What I need to know is finance. And that is why if I get a degree in finance, my unit when I set up will be a lot more profitable, will be much more sound. The policies I put together will be a lot more sound. So remember, all you cross-sectional applicants, be mindful of establishing yourself as a good student for what you have learned. The future comes in time, but right now deal with the past. Okay, for people who have limited internship experiences, they don't have too much to talk about. Probably for whatever reason, somebody would have been sick or something happened and you could not take on your internships. There is still a lot of hope. There is a lot that you can bring in. You can talk about departmental activities, debates, workshops, seminars, industry visits. All these activities, while showing how you have taken away concepts, how you have understood them, will also show the admissions committee a little more about you, delve into something we called personality sketching. It will help them understand how good you are at asking questions, how good you are at interactions, collaborations, how good you are at decision making. So much more can be brought in through college activities. So always balance this section of your essay in such a way that you show, if you can show all of this, amazing, there is a lot to your story you are already adding in. If you have a couple of components to talk about, not a problem, leverage those to show a holistic personality. All right, moving on, subjective. I already warned you, this is a little challenging. I find it a little challenging because it's about the mind. What you tell me, I accept. What I put down on the paper, the admissions committee will take it at face value. They will not question, they will not wonder. There will be a debate on whether how achievable are your goals, how realistic a person are you. But apart from that, it is something which cannot be evaluated by anybody, which cannot be measured in any form. And that is what makes this whole section very challenging. And that is the reason I don't have a definition for it either. So how do you approach this section of the essay? You start with your research. Now, in the past, in the objective component, you have established a lot of skills already. You have shown what a good student you are. You have learned, you have shown what the courses have taught you, what organic learning you have taken away, what realizations you have gained from the industry, whether you want a linear trajectory in your course, whether you want to switch courses. You have detailed the past and you have shown what you are capable of. The future needs to connect with this capability, and that you need to do with research. So how will you do the research? You will keep looking, you will keep identifying and finding where is your industry headed? Where are your inclinations? What is required for you to excel in your field? Like a policy student might need to know how she can create policies to increase efficiency and also accountability. Remember, it's very important. Policymakers, politicians, they probably put together policies and just announce them in the community, and then nobody questions whether what the success rate has been or whether it's failed or where the areas of improvement are. So understanding what the future is about, where will you apply your skills and how is it critical for you is very crucial. So you can do that with adequate research. Once you have done adequate research, you do the abstract part of the essay. Now I've written the word abstract simply because bold is not the best word to put in a presentation, but I like bold. How bold can you be? Can you say that I want to establish that the moon is black? Now, it's a very stupid statement to make. But if I am a physicist, or if I am somebody from the space department, and if I have a theory or a logic which I can prove, and which I know I will see that course through, then I call it out and I put it down. It's important to be bold in your stories. I'll tell you why, because universities are the foundations of research. You will find there, when you're doing your capstones, a lot of industries, a lot of companies coming to the universities with their problems, giving it to them and asking them to find solutions for their problems. So you are the people who are the ones who will innovate, who will be problem solving. So if you have that skill of pushing the envelope, if you have that innate curiosity in you to find answers, the university is going to be very interested in your story and in you. Emotion. Now, this is something you will find all over the internet. Passion, that's the word they use. I like to use the word emotion because I feel that the emotions cushion our ambitions with our desires and need. So what goes inside your mind? What is the reason why you have come into this course? Why are you looking for this master's degree? And what are you hoping to do with it? What is that deep desire in you? Emotion for me, I also translate it as anger, frustration, joy. I am so angry with the way the education sector is going in the rural areas. I want to create policies for that. I am so happy with the way certain economists are, making sure that India is moving towards this development phase where we are in this, our status in the world. I want to be an economist. I am so frustrated with the infrastructure in India that I want to create better roadways. Bring out your emotions and then put forward your motivations and your goals. They will sound a lot more realistic to the admissions committee. The university buy-in. This is where universities look at you as a talent body, as a talent pool. That's the way I look at it, that if you are going to do something where you will also take the university's name forward, you will also work for the larger community and help benefit a lot more people than only yourself, then the university is seriously interested in the kind of work you do. I mean, recently we had this applicant from the Highlands, and there were all the landslides that we know they are happening. And he first started out saying about he wanted to create a landslide warning app. And then we developed the goal and the motivation to show that he wanted to then join the civic infrastructure, the body, and then work with the larger organizations to use his knowledge and his connectivity to create these kind of systems for the country and for others. So when you magnify your goals for the community, it definitely is a lot more interesting to the admissions committee. So now whatever I have explained to you in the subjective component, there is no basis to it. There is no way you can evaluate, you can decide whether this is right, this is wrong, how much of it can work, how much of it cannot work, because it is emotional, it is mental, it comes from within. So that is what makes this whole area very difficult to navigate, because remember, you are selling yourself to the university. You want them to be convinced of your story and then include you in their cohort. So be mindful when you are navigating through the components of the subjective part. We have the goals to talk about, but they are very simple. Once you have covered this section, these two sections already, the goals become a lot more simpler. Through and through, you have already been directing them. You have been kind of narrowing the focus down towards the future where you are headed already. So you have given them warning signals. Now they know what to expect. So you categorically put it down. Short-term goals. I normally insist that the applicants be very specific about the short-term goals. If you cannot plan for 3 years in the future, how can I be sure that when you come to my university and take my education, you will actually apply it strategically in the world? So tell the admissions committee that you know what you're going to do in 3 years. So assuming there is an ML, the aspirant who wants to create the app, if he tells them, I want to go to Google or whichever is the right body, I want to work in the tech team that works with topographical clients, and I want to understand the technology, and I want to understand the statistics, and I want to understand the way and the methodologies in which you can create an app for civic infrastructure. And I want to take that information and then create my own firm, or I want to join the civic infrastructure body in India. That tells me that you have done your research very well. You are bold and you are able to think beyond what is right now available in the market. You are able to hold your passions in the right way. You're able to harness them, not negatively, but productively. And then you are going to create something which everybody is going to benefit from. That is going to be very encouraging for somebody to read. So please be very careful to, please remember to be very specific with your short-term goals. Long-term goal, I normally term the long-term goal 7 to 8 years. In the past, it used to be 10 years, but yes, the world is changing. 7 to 8 years, what do you see yourself doing? Who do you see yourself either working with? You might not have a very strong answer to this one. There might not be specific answers, but an indication is fine because yes, the world will change and you are supposed to evolve in any case through the education process. So the long-term goal can be a little bit flexible. Keep the short-term goal very strong and strategic. Okay, when I leave you with the subjective and objective component, I just want to leave you with this one thing, that through and through be mindful, you're also helping them draw a personality sketch. Remember, I somewhere said personality sketches earlier. While this is not a personal document where we don't call out personalities, through our explanations, we have to show our personalities, what kind of people we are. You have to weave that in very subtly, very strategically. So remember that in the entire body of the essay. The 7-step approach, I've been talking about this already. This is a very simple one: what, when, why, where, how much, all of those questions. Start with the cause. Why are you doing what you are doing? Now, if the project that you have taken, very often in engineering schools, this happens that there are 3 projects identified and you just have to pick one of those and work on it. Try to show that motivation, that inclination, that passion, why you want to pick that project, why you want to work on it. How is it going to help you? What do you hope to learn? The cause of that project, why are you doing it? That vision that you will hope to arrive at that outcome is important. So be very diligent in trying to showcase your work. Your resume will have probably 5 to 10 different projects that you have accomplished so far. Be strategic in picking out the right one that will show this 7-step approach in the best manner. Application. Learned concepts, right? Remember, we've been talking about courses. For those with more work experience, anything that you have done in the previous project that has left you with a thought and a learning, pick it up and apply. Pick and apply in the next project. So the application, whether it's a learned concept or it's a real world application skill or an organic skill you have developed along the way, pick and apply that and show how you have used that tool effectively in moving forward and completing that project. Now, the whole point is about challenges. Never overlook this one. The reason being, if there is an activity that you've undertaken which has already been done in the past, or from the outset, you know that where you're going to reach and how you're going to get there is nothing exciting about it. You're just going through the activity, doing the drill for the sake of. It's not going to be exciting for anybody to read. Why will they want to give you an education when you're not a problem solver, when you're not curious? So a real world challenge is important. Please bring it in. Do not ignore that aspect and show how you have, what the problem has been and if you have navigated. If you have not navigated, it is fine. This is creating a knowledge gap. You need that knowledge gap. I will tell you why in the future. But remember to talk about the challenge and show there are 2 ways. Either you overcome it or you haven't. Speak of whichever has been the case. Developmental. Now, remember, we are talking about the personality sketch. Now, this is a very subtle sentence, a very light one. And I tell you, keep it just to 1 sentence. But in the process of this application and this learning and trying to navigate your problems, show yourself as the human being, show yourself as a decision maker, ability to decide which way to go, ability to identify, okay, now if this technique did not work, how to pick up B, who to approach for help, what should I do? Show that person, show what he will do when he is in a fix and how is he going to deal with that problem. Innovation is very important. You know, it's a word that is very strongly used in all applications, and in all the prompts, you will find this kind of a need that how different can you be, or what has been your approach. It's important to know how you think. It's important to know how much you are willing to probe. So innovation is where you bring that kind of an activity. Did you use your own understanding? This is where what you have learned in the past with basic, you as a person, when you combine these two is where innovation comes from, how bold you are, remember? So this is where you bring that in. Please talk of innovation. But again, in the 7-step approach, you might not always cover all these steps. It's not mandatory. I'm putting them all down. This together will form a good example, a good narrative, but you use what has worked for you. What cannot be ignored are the cause, application, and challenge, and the value and the outcome. Developmental and innovation are entirely up to you, where you can weave it in, bring it in. Okay. Outcome, very clear and simple, straightforward word. What have you arrived at where you expected to arrive with that cause? Or has it been something different? Has it been enriching, enlightening, or more revealing in the sense that, all right, this is not something I should do, or this didn't work for me? What was the outcome of the activity? This can be a statistical response. You can show numbers here to create impact, which is important. So this is where you show what was the outcome and the value. I keep saying the broader community, others beyond you, if you're in class, if it's your class, the university, these people, how are they impacted? If you are at work, your team, your company, the industry, how is it impacted? The value that you have created, that is a good thing to show in the anecdote. All right, once you have got this down, if you have not already taken a quick screenshot, do it now, and I will move on to, so we have covered what should go into the essay. That is done, you already know that, but there is so much more, because right now I have a whole lot of you present here. If I have to tell you all to write the same, if all of you were management students and going for a degree in marketing, how would you distinguish yourself? How would I choose one from the other? Now, that is what you're going to learn in the next part of the presentation. All right, to start with, to do and not to do. Okay, so many times we come across these aspects that I've just made this slide. There has never been a wrong draft. You cannot say anything wrong in an essay. You can present a bad SOP. Like I said, don't talk about the personal. You might have brought in some information about your personal life. I'm an aggressive person, or I am a very timid person, or whatever it is. You might have brought in content that's not connecting to the prompt. That still does not make it wrong. So for whatever reason, if you've already sent out your essays and your application, do not fret. You could not have done anything wrong. Yes, you can enhance the essays from grade 3 to grade 4. You can go to a grade 8 or a grade 9 or even a grade 10 if that's possible, but there is nothing wrong in an essay. So don't worry about what you're putting down. Okay. If you need to show more content, like I said earlier, there are times when we fall short and then we feel, all right, like how do I show enough of my learning and my personality? Speak about your extracurricular activities, but keep it limited, keep it crisp, because honestly, it's not your academic learning, but yes, it's going to also enhance your personality. So bring that in. You can talk about a lot of our applicants, particularly those in the social sciences and in the arts, they like to talk, even in the engineering, all your hackathons and all that. They like to talk about these activities because they have been very integrally involved in these activities, like your Malhar and your Kaleidoscope and your hackathons and the Google Developer Clubs. All these, all right, bring it in, keep it to a minimum. Do not make it your main story. Okay. Don'ts, definitely not happening is meeting the word count for the sake of. First thing is UK universities, quite a few of them have this way of saying prompts starting with in 1500 words. Now that's crazy. That's really crazy. 1500 words is, imagine the admissions officers. Think of them reading 1500 words. And honestly, that the reason I'm saying that is because 900 words to 1000 words is more than enough to present a crisp draft about you in the last 3 years. They anyways not asking about the the late past, the much earlier part of your life. They are only talking about the last 3 years because you're an undergrad, or the last 2 or 3 years because you're a working professional in the industry. Then how much can you talk about? And no, these people, not that they are English language experts, do not think that, but the amount of essays they have read, they know the filler words. They know when you're bringing in content to meet that 1500 word count. Please do not try that. Please only keep your essays to 900 words to 1000 words. Think of the admissions officers, think of their patients, and remember, you want to impress them in the shortest amount of time. So keep them. Do not try to meet the word count unless you actually have real content, all right. If every word is crisp, every word is required in the story, go ahead and give it out. Worry about the start more than you should. I get all these requests all the time. Ma'am, I want my introduction to be so impressive, but why? Are you writing a story? Are you giving writing a film script that you want the introduction to be so impactful? The reader knows he wants to vet you for your technicalities and for your academic proficiency. He wants to know how good an industry person you are. Tell him that. Do not beat around the bush. Do not create an introduction. Just deep dive straight away into, in the third year of my school, I was doing this particular project and I realized I love ML. Done. That person is also interested. This person loves what he's doing. Let's listen what he's saying. So keep your introductions minimal. Replicating content across the application, LOR, resume, SOP. Now, how is it possible? Anyways, I'm insisting that you only talk about the past 3 years. Then I'm saying only talk about 3 or 4 projects. How can you not replicate? It is the presentation I am talking about. Be very mindful. The resume is action-oriented, statistical-driven. I organized, I delegated, I initiated, I took. That is what or even the I is normally not there in the resume. We just start with the action word because we want to create that impact. Initiated so-and-so, delegated so-and-so, collaborated this. The LOR will probably pick out 2 of those activities and give a third person's perspective about what kind of work you did. Assuming there was a TED Talks and you had to go and make a presentation, but the rain was so bad that whatever you did. So the third person is going to say that how, despite all odds, you actually made it to the auditorium, and where, in spite of not having good connectivity, you actually just did not use the mic and there was no electricity or whatever problems you had. You actually used your voice and you created that impact and you delivered. Nothing stopped you. So think about that personality creation that is coming, that sketch that is coming through the kind of delivery that's happening. In the SOP, you will say, I did not know what to do. There was so much rain. There was no way I could get there. I got my so-and-so to get the car out. We went through the rain. See, you are trying to show you are going to go against all odds. You're making it to the auditorium. You don't have network connectivity. Whatever you remember from memory, you actually went out. You took that bold step of not having good content, but still going and talking in front of the audience. That shows courage. So that is how you're going to present yourself. So replication across the application. This is what we mean. Do not replicate, but yes, kind of link them all. That is coming up later on. I'm not too sure if someone can help me with the time. So that's what I was trying to say earlier. There's so much to tell you people, but there's always limited time. So replication across the...
You're good on time, Nimisha. You're good on time. Don't worry. I'll let you know. I'll give you a heads up.
Thanks. All right. So you understood how to leverage this part. Moving on beyond the essay guidelines. So like I said, You have covered this objective and subjective part of the essay. You've done good motivation expression. You've defined your goals very clearly. You've understood how you can stand out a little more and show how you can show the story across the various components of the application. Now, what is your USP? How will you stand out even more in that very competitive cohort where if right now everybody's not asking for grades, but if all the grades are similar, if the GPAs are similar, if the realizations are similar, how do you capitalize? How do you stand out? Your USP is the I, me, myself factor when you put it across like that. Very often I get the first drafts quotation by John F. Kennedy or whoever. And then there is probably something, okay, I worked with the CEO who is a Harvard alum. You remember, these are not your stories. That quotation you did not say. That John F. Kennedy, the Harvard alum, that's not you. It's only your supervisor. You speak about your story. You speak about the impact you created. And where you say, I realized, I put it down, I took back, is where the impact is created, because now you are talking about what's going on in your mind, that mental state that I've been talking to you about. Your impressions can never be replicated in the whole world. So many times they ask me, can you give me a sample of an essay? But where can I create another Nimisha? I cannot create another person. I cannot create how that person can think. So your replication, your mental understanding is the first thing that will come in front. And that's why I say in the essays, when you're putting a presentation, make sure at least every third sentence, there is an I, me, or myself. Very often, particularly the engineering projects, when you have to present, you get too technical. There is so much of activity, and then this node and this whatever, and then this technology and whatever. You forget the I in that. Do not forget the I. This is about the I only. So every third sentence, put it down. It needs to be an I, me, or myself. Knowledge gaps. Remember, I showed you how to build the knowledge gaps. You face a real world challenge. You don't know how to navigate that. But you need that. You need to know what the industry needs. You need to know where your position is, what your academic and your knowledge status is. If you knew everything, why are you going to the university? Sometimes we get these projects where start to finish, everything is so nicely and seamlessly woven in that there is no challenge there. There is no conflict or, a reason to wonder, okay, what is happening? How will he reach the end objective? He very seamlessly reaches there. Then why are you going to the university? What are you going to go there and do? You're going to take time of theirs and yours, and it's a waste. Show your blind spots. Your knowledge gaps are important. They will tell the university why that university faculty and why that particular course is important for you. It is what it's going to teach you and how you are going to apply it in the future. Hold on to those knowledge gaps. They are only yours. How you understand a math theorem, maybe your next person might have understood it differently. So your problem is your alone. So your problems are important. Why is now a good time for your masters? Why are you going now? Why aren't you going to the industry and working for 2 years? We have some people here who have quite a bit of industry experience, and they are thinking of going for a master's now. Why are you going immediately and not waiting? What is the reason? Only you can say. Your reasoning is yours. Nobody else can create that same reason for you. Similarly, that person who has had 4 years of work experience, why is he going for a master's now? He's already an industry pro. He's getting a great salary, working with a great firm, Deloitte, Bain. Why are you taking a master's degree now? What is bringing you back into the education sector? Why is now a good time? I don't have answers. I don't have examples for these because this is not my story. This only you can tell me. So put that down. Why are you going now for your master's? What do you bring to the table? So many times, particularly the cross applicants to come with me, ma'am, I didn't learn anything in school. I did my engineering degree. I am a mechanical engineer, but I didn't learn anything. Why? Because I want to go into marketing in the future. I want to do management degree, so I didn't learn anything. You have so much of academic knowledge, that you have gained, how can you have not learned anything? You have your passions and your talents and your extracurricular activities. How can you not bring anything to the table? And off late, particularly after COVID, this is something that universities use to identify and to draw that personality sketch. They use these kind of tools and techniques to understand who you are inside. What drives you? How aggressive are you? What are you going to do? How curious are you? How much are you going to put in effort to go and achieve what you have decided that you want to do? Apart from that, you can take that interdisciplinary education even to the university. If you're a management student, you can go into an economics department and help and kind of conduct a session on how to analyze their data, how to coordinate and organize their data. Show them how to do it, because data is scattered, it's all over the place, you know it. How would you put it together? Management degree, management student can show that. I also had an applicant who was a music student. He used music in this way. He did math with matriarchy. He used music for jap tal. That is what you can do. You can probably go to the organizations and to the institutions that the university is partnered with, and go and teach underprivileged children these kind of things, make it more interesting for them, or even go and do it for profit. It's okay. It's all right to be wanting to get paid. Go and get this kind of a cross-disciplinary application. All this you can bring to the university. You can, if you are a woman in STEM, you can champion that cause. We have had so many. Last year, we had a beauty pageant applicant from a Vellore Institute. She did not know how to put her story together, because initially it was only about the beauty pageant. And then we created that whole thing that she can take that public speaking and that confidence level, she can take it to the university, join a club and translate it there. That is what people can bring. So what you can bring to the table is anything that you can do, you can bring to the table. So hold on to that. Definitely leverage that, and definitely put that down that when I come to Columbia, this is what I am going to do with the Women in STEM Club. All right. Okay. Industry agnostic. Now, this is something is more pertaining to those with more work experience. Finally, I have something.
Maybe 8 minutes, 8 minutes more.
Okay, so I'm going to just wind up with this one. So industry agnostic, I am asking you, speak about your work, the knowledge gaps you've created in the industry, like, for example, project management skill, talent management, programming languages, Python, R, all of this, how you can leverage that, how you can bring all that together at the university at the level and help your cohort and your university and your class. So with that, I'm sorry, there is a little more. I'm not going to cover that. I'm just going to ask you to take a quick screenshot of this one. I'll give you 3 seconds to take a screenshot of this one and a screenshot of this one. If at all you reach out to us later on, this is a critical one. I would have liked to spend a good 5 minutes on this, but I want to take those questions and answers also. So please take your screenshots. And with that, I will come to the end of this session. Thank you, all of you, for being so patient. And how can I help you now? How can I answer your questions? Okay. Help with, okay. So Bhavna is looking for help with navigating the storyboarding path. Bhavna, I think I have given you a lot of information to consider, to mull over, and I don't know how else right now I can help you with this thing. You can reach out to us. I'm going to put on that slide in a minute on how you can reach out to us, and we can definitely help the story. This is something I love to do. So anytime. How to write a scholarship winning SOP. All right. Scholarship winning SOP is not always about your need or your financial trouble. It's not necessarily about that. It is your will to apply in the industry. It is your will to get that degree and impact the wider audience. Now, here in a scholarship essay, I would always say, think of beyond you. Think of the larger community and say how, if you get that degree, and how, if you start up that firm of yours, or how, if you join the government, you are able to create a better impact, how you're able to help the community. Okay, Shweta is as if you're switching fields. Which part of the essay do we explain the switch? Depending on when it happened. Now, if you went for a course in psychology, it didn't happen in the first year. Probably it happened in the second year. Talk about it when it happened. You went into psychology with a certain mindset. Talk about why you went in and talk about what you were taking away. And when it happened is when it happened. Honestly, Shweta, your story can only turn out best if you present it the way it happened. The minute there is any tweak to it, there will be a dip, there will be a change, and it will not be as convincing as it's supposed to. Okay, last slide. Again, for the attendee who came late, Abdul, I would like to ask if the things that you outlined are to be written in that. Very good question, Abdul. Awesome. No, you don't have to present. Like I said, there is no wrong way, first thing, in putting down an essay. And secondly, write the essay any way you want to. Wherever you start, my only request to you is, remember, we don't want to confuse the admissions committee. We want them to understand your story the way you are saying it. Again, misinterpretation, that's a huge thing. So, once you start off, somewhere get into a chronological order, only so that they understand. So assuming you're starting in 2023, that today I realize this is my knowledge gap. Then go back to 2021 where the story starts and then proceed further. It helps them get context. Remember, the resume is chronological order. When they map the two together, it will give them a better understanding. So where to start from first, there is no right way or wrong way, just start where you want to. You can start in 2027, no problem. That's fine. Ma'am, I don't have any work experience. I graduated in April 2023. Will my no, your zero experience is fine. I've been speaking about fresh graduates all the time. Only thing I tell you, from now to 2024 fall, try and get some work experience. You will be sending out your applications in December. You have 6 months from the time you must have graduated in June to December. 6 months, show some work activities, show some industry connect. But in the past, if you don't have, there are ways where we can show you as a good student and show you as a good applicant for that program. Radhika, you have a medical, if you have a leading to a gap, have worked in the family. It's fine to have worked in the family business. Somebody has to work in the family business. Or if you're the only child, or if you're one of 5 children who's going to inherit that business, please go and do that. Nothing wrong in that. It's a myth, absolute myth, that you cannot work in your family business. Who will work if the father doesn't give the business to the children? Who is going to take it up? Perfectly all right. And if there's a medical condition and if there's a gap, that can also be shown as working in the family business. Only thing, Radhika, make sure the experiences sound convincing. They are real. They are the applications that you have put down and the learning that you have taken away. So that's perfectly okay. Okay, how can I mend my 1-year gap? I mean, mending, though, I doubt it. That's not going to happen. But yeah, we'll have to do a lot of conversation with you to understand what else you have been doing, and then kind of highlight those activities to show what you were doing in that 1 year. Can the slide 7-step approach be displayed again? Can I mail that to you? I don't want to keep going back and forth. I would like this thank you slide to be up front. So please, can you email me, and then I will send you the presentation. I'll be happy to do that. Yes, I have the social work experience, which has provided me with good insight for my desired course. So how do I? Great. So you've got social service work experience. All right, talk about it. You know, social service is such a thing. Everybody can do it and they think they can ace it. But if you've actually done it, you realize it's very, very niche. And the way you can present it in the way you've actually done it, it will just stand out. So talk about your passion there. Talk about your emotions there. What made you do that social service? Talk about the realizations. What did you learn from the grassroots level of society? Show them that this has been a learning curve for you. This could also be a turning point in your life. So it's great if you've had this, and this can definitely be considered as a college activity. And then you can use the 7-step approach and tweak it and show an activity out of it. Shamli is saying, do we mention a transfer or an oddity in the educational journey, switching a university because we aim to for a better? Not necessarily. It doesn't. They are not interested in why you moved. So this is something I haven't covered, and very often we like to explain. We like to explain low grades. We like to explain a switch in our educational journey or a switch in our field. You don't have to explain that. You can just continue in the process that when I was in XYZ institution in this course, I learned this. I went to ABC institution and this course taught me this more, and it clarified my doubts even better. I took away more from this experience. It will not be detrimental, or it will not be an advantage either. It will just be in the course of. Okay, thank you, Ananya. Thank you for considering this an informative session. This was what the objective was. Thank you for that.
All right, and we have Hussein's last question, Nimisha, before we say bye to everyone. Please email us on the email address in the front of the screen. Kaushik, you as well. We won't take any more questions. I think Hussein's is the last question, Nimisha, for you.
Okay, I think I'll answer Kaushik because Hussein's has been answered kind of in a different way. Dentistry, and you want to go for public health. I've been working in the past year, not in a closely related field. All right. Same profile. Okay, let's leave the friend aside. Even the college preferences are same. How can we distinguish it? So again, Kaushik, very classic question. Why are you moving from dentistry into public health? You cannot have the same reasons. You cannot have the same passion and the same motivation of what driving your reason to move from dentistry into public health and what you will do in the future. Remember your long-term goal. That is also very critical. You can use these tools to distinguish both of you from each other and put forward to the university. Long-term goals, where you will get your short-term goal also, which university you will go and work at, which job, which think tank or which company you will go and work at can be different. That way you will distinguish yourself. Thank you, Amrita. I'm so glad that you enjoyed this session, and I'm hoping that I will see you all along the way in this coming year, or in some way or the other. Even if you don't sign up, that's fine. Like I said, I love my job. So if you ask me a question, I will definitely answer you. Thank you so much, and looking forward to seeing you.
Thank you, everyone. I mean, this has been such an engaging session, and I can see that the audience was engaged, and it was super interactive. Nimisha, thank you so much for your time today. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day and weekend ahead. For anybody who still had questions, please send out an email to us. It doesn't cost you money to ask a question, and doesn't cost us money to respond to it. So, by all means, expect responses. But yes, if you do have a very specific question which you feel like needs a little more counseling, which is like, oh, but can you help me with college listing? Those are the kind of questions you want to ask about our services. But if you have like one quick question, which won't take Nimisha time to answer, we are happy to do that at all. Thank you everyone for attending today. Nimisha, thank you. The recording is available on YouTube. So if you go to the Red Pen YouTube channel, you can subscribe to it. You will be able to see and also all the other videos we've done in this series. And on that note, have a great week. Stay blessed.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.